Glamabox to Hong Kong, Taiwan, Singapore, and China. So Glam Girl is my current project, and it's a fashion and beauty brand. We'll be having an online boutique. Here's a quick overview. I'm also going to preview our mock-up of what will be going live in a few weeks. But we're a high-end beauty and fashion brand with a boutique launching soon, and in it we'll have curated fashion as well as collaborations with other beauty brands that we'll be working with, and our own patented product that is coming out in about 6 weeks. So I'm busy, talking to all the factories right now about making sure they get the product to us on time. And our mission is to empower every girl to be glam, whether she's just doing everyday things or out at a special event with her friends. And we want to be as eco-friendly as possible. So one of our patented products is a very revolutionary way of dealing with the wastage of makeup, and put the M in glam. And this is a look at what our site's going to look like. So we're going to, I always wondered why, as a beauty and fashion connoisseur, why I'd have to go to a separate site for beauty or a separate site for fashion, why we have, fashion bloggers and then beauty bloggers too. I care kind of about the whole package. So we wanted a place where girls can shop and share about their beauty products and their fashion, the latest styles at once. So we're going to have a beauty buzz section with a live feed of curated content and created content. Fashion feed, as well as the online boutique that has fashion and beauty elements. So look out for it. And if you want to say hi to us, you can email us at hello@glamgirl.com, and then various social media. So it's glam-girl.com right now. And without further ado, I'm going to go into our questions and bring back up that hashtag so that you can tweet along with us in social media. Let's see, back up. All right, so my first question is kind of a general question, and I think our panelists have alluded to it in their various backgrounds. But I'll start with you, Joanne. What strategy does social media play in building your brand online, and what strategies do you employ specifically?
Social media is a huge part of what we do. I mean, we are building a brand which is exclusively, was born online and will evolve there. So we work a lot with a lot of the world's top bloggers, mostly in the US. And that's crucial for building credibility. And we have, so we've done a lot of aggressive things we had a fantastic Facebook contest when we launched. We're doing a pin to win with actually literally one of the top 5 pinners in the United States with more than 1 million people following her this week. Actually, I hope all of you will join. We're building a shoppable Facebook album app, which is a custom build with one of Asia's top developers. I mean, we're extremely aggressive and innovative with our use of social media, but I also want to say that building a traditional, it is also, there's a part of it which is a traditional luxury brand, even though the pricing is really incredible, where it is unavoidable to also have to spend money on traditional PR and advertising. Not advertising, but PR for sure. So we also work with a great PR agency, and social media serves to magnify the influence of these opinion leaders whom we need to enlist at all times to trumpet how fantastic our brand and products are.
I guess Fiona, you will be next to answer.
Just pass it down. So I kind of alluded to this when I gave the opening. It's an interesting balance for us, social media. So as a private members club, we need to retain an air of exclusivity about the club, about our events, about the access that we're giving to members. So for us, in the past 2 years, building our social media strategy has been a lot of trial and error, as I'm sure it has been for a lot of you guys who are on the brand building side. And for us, the biggest consideration always when we're posting is how much is too much. When are we overstepping the line of sharing too much public knowledge with people who aren't members, and retaining that exclusivity, because members are paying. They're paying an annual membership fee. Our corporate members are paying for the access for their clients. So it's for us just finding that right balance. So in terms of the Quintessentially brand, very much the social media platform is for us kind of threefold. One is to really connect with our partners, our suppliers. So if you think about it, working with Plaka, working with the hotel suppliers, like the Four Seasons, the Mandarin Oriental, it's about building that strategic partnership kind of offline through coffees, chats, clients that we send them, but also online as well through social media kind of partnership and encouragement. We also use it to engage with media, so in kind of building relationships with key journalists, key PRs. We find if we're retweeting or if we're really sharing and shouting what they're doing, they're likely to maybe have a coffee with us or come and see us afterwards. So, it's a lot about building friends and building alliances. And then the other thing is just also kind of showing off a bit. So really showing the world what Quintessentially can do. Maybe it was access to F1 in Singapore, the Amber Lounge, or maybe it was, the Oscars. So it's also after the event, kind of shouting about what we've been able to secure for our members. So it's a constant balancing act for us. Our biggest kind of social media play is very much on Facebook, Twitter, and Weibo, and the others are coming in kind of here and there, but it's still an ongoing strategy that we're developing and tweaking kind of on an ongoing basis.
And then I'm going to have Shay answer this question as well.
Sure. So for the parent demographic, social media is huge, and it's only gotten bigger over the last couple of years. Again, primarily because these parents are running around with devices, and they're actually surfing, checking their email, and finding places and things to do with their kids directly from their iPhones or other devices. We use social media primarily for two reasons. One is to actually get tips, to get content ideas, and we find that Twitter is a great thing for that, because one thing that Little Steps does is we focus on a lot of the international trends. We look at what the US is doing, what Australia is doing. A lot of times they're on their way to Asia, and so Twitter is a great thing to just keep on top of, because we get the breaking news all over the world, and one thing that we can do is organize it such that we get it when we want it and how we want it, so it's not just a bombardment of tweets. We can actually organize it. The other way that we use social media is obviously to disperse information. Facebook for us is still our biggest disperser of information. Of course, everything drives back to our website, so the more people that interact with us on Facebook, they're driving us back to page views for our website, which therefore is great for advertisers and our partners involved. Other areas that we mentioned, obviously Pinterest, still growing, but it's interesting for very specific niches. YouTube for things like the flash mob and contests, and that's pretty much where we are involved in the social media front.
Okay, and Claire, I think you also have a point of view to share with us.
Yes, and our social media strategy really stems from our tagline, which is "Be a Connector." So when we look at connecting, we're not just talking about connecting people, we're talking about connecting information, we're talking about basically sharing as much as possible. And as someone already said, obviously you want to work towards not oversharing and becoming a pain for people who are following you on social media. But with us, probably about 70% of our social media is not about our own content, is not about our own information. It's really about being that help and that support and that resource that women entrepreneurs can go to. And that's ultimately what we want to be in terms of our brand, is the one-stop go-to resource for female entrepreneurs globally. So everything we do really is there to help and serve and support. So we share a lot of information, we share other people's articles, we source information, we use a lot of tools to do that, such as Feedly, Google Alerts, and then we share it. We also support our members. So, for example, if they've got news to tell, or they've had a great success, or just a business and entrepreneurial community at large, then it's great to help and celebrate those triumphs and those stories. We also use social media for customer service. So if someone's having an issue with the website, or whatever it might be, maybe they just want to inquire about our membership, benefits, or the price, we're there. We're regularly on social media. We've got the alert set up so that someone can always react very, very timely. And we obviously also talk about what we do at Heels and Deals, because the more women that we have in our community, the benefits for everybody, the more they can help each other. So we work collaboratively with other organisations to share their news and their stories. So it all really comes under our banner of Be a Connector, and social media is just the most wonderful thing for that.
That's great. So we spoke generally right now about how everyone's using their social media and incorporating into their business strategies. But now my next question deals with how to deal with what Joanne alluded to about unifying the traditional PR and the social media aspect, how to integrate both into a unified voice for the brand. I think we'll talk to Kiri about this first.
So as a PR agency, we are constantly speaking and engaging with all sorts of communities and all sorts of people who are passing our messages on. And so in that sense, we have traditional media, so journalists who work for the newspapers, for the magazines and so forth. Then you have online media, which is, for example, if you look at a sponsor here today, Wall Street Journal, they have a print newspaper. They also have something called The Scene, which is an online publication which has different content than what's on print, as well as their website, which is an online version of their print. So in a sense, they actually have a blogosphere as well. We also work with bloggers and just everyday people who are out there driving content online. So how does it... how do you work across this landscape? I think the most important thing to remember is that these are all tools to get your communications efforts across. Every one of these outputs, shall we say, whether it be traditional, online, a blogger, a website, a mini site, whatever you're engaging in, you're talking to a person. And so, as we're talking to any person, you're building a relationship. You're finding out what it is that they're looking for, what kind of content they want to put online. And then you work backwards and say, well, what do I have for you? Well, I have this interesting story. This person might interest you. She's doing something in that line. Maybe it's a fashion blogger, for example, and they're looking for the perfect pair of shoes, or they're doing green season and they're looking for all fashion in green, and we say, okay, well, our clients have this for you. It all comes down to relationships, no matter what it is, what platform you're using, or what content. And I think that's something that a lot of people forget, that there are people behind all of this. I think the second thing that's really important to remember is that any engagement, when you're looking to communicate in any form or any way, a brand has to remember who they are as the brand. What is their tone? What is their personality? And what is it that they want to tell people? Now, whether that person that you want to tell is reading a newspaper, looking at your blog, or on social media, it's important that they find that same personality, that same tone of voice, and that they understand what your key message is. So that means that you need to really think about, as a brand representative and a communicator on behalf of a brand, you need to think about, what is your brand about? You really need to understand that. And then in all forms of communications, from a 140-character tweet through to a 400-word blog or talking to a journalist, you need to be able to deliver that message. And so I really think that it's important, and a lot of people I hear say, it's okay, I've got a social media site, my intern does it. And you kind of go, does your intern know about your business? Does your intern understand? Have they taken on board what it really means that you're trying to do? Do they care? A lot of the time, probably not. So I guess that's one thing that I really wanted to communicate is how important it is for all of you that no matter how you're going out there and speaking about what you're doing in your brand, it's got to be authentic, it's got to come from the source, and it's got to be a unified message.
Okay, I'm going to pose this next question as well to Fiona. You guys have so many offices and must